Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming, and some of you may on Twitter the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Wayfinder. So y'all, before we jump into it, just wanted to let y'all know that our Patreon is now up for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel, get some awesome rewards like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming Not Safe for Work videos. Anyway y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alright. Despite the foot traffic outside, it never gets too crowded here. The atmosphere is perfect to get cozy and have a chat with another person, human or otherwise. Walking to the waist-high desk near the entrance, I ask the hostess for a booth for two. Arkyn looks around, anxious but very noticeably excited. We're seated almost immediately. The pub bears maybe a dozen total patrons excluding us, with half of them at a single table near the corner where the two walls of windows meet. Arkyn and I are in a booth closer to the inner corner opposite the table of six. The hostess points to our menu tucked into a small caddy at the wall end of the booth and informs us there will be a server to take our order in a few minutes. After looking over the menu on the table for a minute, I spot it. The prized dish Arkyn so desperately desired. Hey, Arkyn, you can speak and read my language, right? Even in spite of your otherworldly status? Arkyn nods. A sly smile spreads swiftly across my face. Arkyn, offset by this, puts a finger atop the menu I'm looking at and tips it down so he can see what I'm looking at. He didn't even need to read the entry. There's a picture of the meal adorning the outer corner of the menu. His face lights up and his smile is wider than my own now. Fynn, is that what I think it is? Yeah, sure is. Bangers and mash. Probably not as good as your mom's, but I'll have to try some here first. So I know when I finally do try hers, won't I? I picked this place because I thought I recognized the name and description when you gave them to me. I'm glad I was right. Arkyn looks genuinely excited at the revelation. He looks me in the eyes and gives me a warm smile. A comfort to help me feel at home in your realm. Truly a kind gift, Fynn. I, however, have also brought a gift for you. Please, close your eyes. Trust me. I don't even have it in me to argue or defy. I'm a little curious now. I close my eyes and then something gently caresses the tip of my nose. Is that a penis? Can I open my eyes now? I felt something touch my nose. I know what it is before I open my eyes, but I want to confirm his sweet gesture for myself. The aroma is too familiar for me to be anything else. Yes, Fynn. You may open your eyes now. I open my eyes to the most beautiful roses I've ever seen. Arkyn, these are beautiful! You remember my favorite flower? I'm so touched. The wolf giant smiles at me widely, proud. I can't help but smile back, my gaze locked to those pure jade eyes. I take the roses from him and feel the blush on my face. I lay the flowers carefully onto the table. When the waitress, and a kindly older woman, comes over, I ask her for a glass of lukewarm water for the flowers, and with the blush on my face still, she smiles and nods. We give her our order, 2 plates of bangers and mash and 2 mugs of beer. After the waitress leaves with our orders, Arkyn and I make small talk. As general... blah. One second, y'all. Coffee time. Okay. Oh, that is just what I needed. I asked general questions about what he's been doing with his time while not looking for me or being around when necessary. He's pretty athletic. As he's talking, the waitress brings us two rather large mugs of beer. The gym building in your college is quite fantastic. I had to have some people show me how to use the equipment, but it makes for a nice way to spend my time. I wouldn't know. I had no idea we even had a fitness center on campus until you told me just now. Most of my exercise comes from walking to and fro here in the city, and since moving out here, I haven't so much as looked at a gym. The waitress has returned to the kitchen, probably trying to get us our food. It's been just about enough time now, considering the number of topics upon which Arkyn and I have reflected. Well, come with me sometime. We'll make it fun, and even though you look pretty healthy, it's always good to keep up with exercise. I'm always running about doing things for people in my village, and the tasks keep me pretty fit. Fit is an understatement. All 3 of my wolf friends are very well built. Even for his height, Gerolf managed to absolutely toss Tucker, who isn't small himself, like throwing a trash bag into a dumpster. Arkyn has half a foot on Gerolf and twice as much bulk. I don't even want to imagine how strong he is, or Bjorn for that matter. The waitress brings our food over, and I smile to her in thanks while switching to using Mindspeak to talk to Arkyn without being overheard as she straightens up tables nearby. We eat and communicate mentally. You do a lot for the people of your village, I guess. That's admirable. I'm happy to have been found by such a kind person. You're too kind, but yes, the people in my village are like family, and I do my best to help what I can. Well, how about the great chief side of things? Tell me, What are you hoping to get out of that role? I'd like to know what my potential decision is endorsing, so to speak. My hope is to become the Great Chief and bring a better future to both my village as well as all tribes throughout the Ironwood. I need to be direct with you, Fynn. There are many matters that are ignored by the elders and even the previous Great Chief. The last time villages all seemed to be prospering was before our next last Great Chief passed away. The waitress heads back toward the kitchen and our mind speak floats into voice speak seamlessly. Look at the flowers Arkyn gifted me. Now sitting in their temporary accommodations as another question comes to mind. You guys use magic to find somewhere to stay, right? There's a bit of silence and I can feel him tense up. He's looking down at his food as though he's lost his appetite, but he picks up his fork again and stabs the sausage. After taking a bite and finishing it, he speaks. Yes. I know what you said yesterday, and I know I agree with you. In the end, it could end up hurting someone. However, at present, we don't necessarily have much of a choice. His eyes betray his true feelings on the subject. And there is no real way to see how or when the glamour wears off, if at all. How did you manage to find the homes, then? Maybe I can help with, damage control. Well, our elders have done extensive research into this realm and its current ways of life. There's magic used to enable us to find our own living spaces. We were given glamoured pages that look to be checks and identification cards for the landlords to perform background checks with. Second, y'all. Water time. Oh, God. Arkyn shakes his head with disapproval. If I'm honest, a lot of it's over my head, but there is what we call intention magic, left residually on objects such as our IDs and the checks. It lets us change the way a person perceives their situation in order to make sure our intended result will come to pass. The object this intention magic is used on simply needs to be present nearby until it's no longer needed. I sigh. I know he needs my help, but I can't help but feel guilty for what these wolf giants are potentially doing. The elders may have good intentions, but this honestly leaves a bad taste in my mouth, Arkyn. I hope we're able to mend what harm is caused by this. Arkyn tilts his head as though acknowledging my concern. Well, harm or no, this is necessary. Taking into account the entirety of one realm's security and future, a few people and another suffering a few setbacks seems like a small thing to trade. Not that I like it any more than you do, mind you. I'm just unable to change our tactics. It seems like it's just an afterthought to these elders of yours, though. They can use magic to manipulate people, but can't use it to keep track of who they're hurting and make reparations? Not cool. I'm hoping to be able to tell them off as soon as possible, but I keep this from him. So, what issues are being overlooked exactly? You mentioned matters being ignored. The waitress looks to be heading back toward us to refill our beers, so we switch back to mind speak after I nudge Arkyn with my foot. Well, there were a lot of sick people and orphaned children after we suffered a blight a few decades back. I myself was still very young, so I don't remember it that well, but my mother has always told me it was our duty to help out where we could. Still, I thank the waitress as she returns with full mugs of beer. Arkyn nods to her, then turns his gaze toward me once more. Remember what you said about the girl working in the cafeteria? How she likely needed to work there because it helped pay for her classes. I nod and let him continue. The waitress is gone now, but he continues in mind speak. Well, the Great Chief, before he disappeared, declared a grand expedition to the furthest reaches of our realm. In exchange for their participation, the young and able-bodied would have a salary paid to their families. And the more wolves a village was able to send, the higher their priority in the Great Chief's relief efforts for the Blight became. Since the Blight occurred just before this expedition, many smaller villages like my own had too many sick and weak citizens to send anybody. Those villages were ignored and left to rot. I felt my stomach drop. He hadn't made it seem as though things were this bad. His previous demeanor and his general attitude did little to betray the truth of his situation. Suddenly I felt my fists clenched and my blood boiling. Not at him, per se. How could any so-called Great Chief just let people suffer like that? Oh, coffee time. This coffee has a little bit of a cheesy aftertaste to it. Might be with the milk that's in it, but it tastes very unique. It's a good flavor, not a bad flavor. It's got a cheesy kind of aftertaste. I relieve my fist of its own tension and reach that hand to Arkyn's forearm to comfort him. We sit in silence for a bit until Arkyn changes the subject. I'm grateful he does. Even though I brought it up, it is a bit of a drag to be concerned about the ethics of magic and the suffering of entire villages while being essentially useless to help. Ooh, excuse me. How about you? What is your home like? You said you moved out here, so I assumed. He's trying to lighten the mood. I shouldn't let him down. I nod, chuckling. Yeah, I'm not from the city. I come from a suburban area. It's only about a half hour away by train, which I'm actually about to take tomorrow to go to my parents' home. Ah, I hope your travel is smooth then. What was life like there? It's all a blur, really. It all seems to have happened with me just looking on. I remember thinking it was quieter than here, for one. I remember having a few friends growing up, but after I finished high school, most of them came out here and left the area entirely. It's been a few years sort of drifting from one job to another and not really knowing what I wanted to do with myself. Not really even trying to do anything with myself. And last year I decided to finally try to earn a degree and see if I couldn't maybe find my passion along the way, whatever that may be. I noticed Arkyn's food is finished. I myself am pretty close to finishing as well. Oh, do you want to order a plate to take home, by the way? We can have them prepared so it's ready in time. Arkyn smiles and nods. Flag down the waitress, asking for a to-go order and for the check after it's ready. She smiles and heads off to the kitchen after clearing her dishes. So, what would you like to do after you finish with your studies? Honestly, I don't know. I started much later than my friends, as I mentioned. With everything going on now, I kind of just want to help you three out as best I can. Maybe I can find some inspiration. He lights up at this, and I get another smile. Oh, so you'll help us then? I mean, I knew you would, but we didn't want to force you. I'm still thinking about it, but leaning toward yes. He takes my hand and shakes it with both of his paw hands. I can feel the pads against my skin. They're warm and a bit coarse, but still feel pretty nice. Oh, thank you, Fynn! You've just given me such relief! His eyes give truth to his words. It's as though it were his birthday and I had all the presents he wanted on display. After a few moments, he settles down. Like I told you before, though, I really do have a lot going on. The fact that you guys aren't necessarily rushing me is really your only saving grace here. I expect my time to be respected, and of course, in turn, I'll respect yours as I'm able to. Arkyn nods and lets go of my hand at last. So, anything specific happening you need to deal with? Aside from us wolf giants. I sigh. This part always bothers me to talk about. Yeah, my mom. She has a bit of a drinking problem. Usually not so bad if it doesn't. I stop myself. He doesn't need to know this. The mood is just coming back from its decline after all. Wait, what? What's happening with your father? Is there some trouble? I shake my head. No, Arkyn. Don't worry about that. Let's see. Aside from that stuff in school... Oh! This is strange, but I've been having dreams about this wolf. Wolves. One second now. Coffee time. This is strange, but I've been having dreams about this wolf, or, wolves, chasing the sun and the moon. One of them spoke to me. It asked for me for help, too. Oh, that's... Fynn, you could just be projecting because of meeting us. Maybe your mind is just having trouble processing everything. It does sound a bit like... Well, it felt real. The wolf said his name was Skull. Skull, and he wanted me to... Wait. What? Did you just say Skull? I nod, a bit surprised as his voice raised a bit. I motion for him to keep his voice down, and he shakes his hand in the air dismissively. Fynn, we need to get the others to talk to us right now. Confused by a sudden change in demeanor, I nod and watch as Arkyn gets up and heads towards the exit. Thankfully, the waitress returns with a smile, and even more thankfully, no questions, with Arkyn's takeout and our check. I leave enough for the bill and a nice tip, thank the waitress, and after gathering my jacket and Arkyn's food, I quickly follow him outside. Alright, y'all, and I'm going to pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for all you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silvermoon. Thank you for going a bit above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you to our gold tier patron, Amr. You're awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to our ultimate tier anyway. If y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to our not safe for work contents as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.